All right, welcome everybody to the Transportation Policy Board meeting today on Tuesday, August 11th, 2026. It's good to see everybody, and thank you for being here and online, for having a quorum on time. So appreciate it. All right, our first thing will be the approval of the TPB agenda for today, August 11th.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
We have a motion and a second to approve today's agenda. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thank you. Next is the approval of the meeting minutes from July 14th, 2026. We had a chance to review the minutes.
Make a motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thank you. Next, we have item C, Director's Report. Ted, hello.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, members of the Transportation Policy Body. We have a few updates to report to you with the help of staff, starting with the Unified Planning Work Program that is 2027, the next year. As you know, there are so many activities that are happening, and those are all documented. And the federally required document is named as Unified Planning Work Program. And Marky has an update since Marky coordinated with Federal Highway Administration partners, KDOT, and various jurisdictions. Thank you. Marky, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Yes, we're just kind of going to give an overview about the development for the 2027 Unified Planning Work Program. As Chad mentioned, this is the document that kind of provides that overview of the activities that WAMPO staff, as well as our consultants, will undertake throughout the year. So we develop this annually. It considers our long-range plan, the requirements of MPOs and federal planning factors, as well as any current legislation. And it serves many purposes. It's not just the budget. It also really does outline the planning scope, timeline, and all of the details underneath each of the tasks we're planning on doing. So it guides the planning activities, and it specifies, in particular, the use of Consolidated Planning Grant, or CPG funding, which is 80% federal, and then we do a 20% local match for that. So the core product update cycles that WAMPO has really does help shape each of the Unified Planning Work Programs for each year. So I won't read all of these to you. They are in your packet on pages 7 and 8. I will just highlight a few. Important to note in 2027 is we may begin early planning for the next long-range Metropolitan Transportation Plan, or MTP. The last one was developed and approved last year in 2025. Our ongoing maintenance and updates for our Transportation Improvement Program, development of the 2028 Unified Planning Work Program, and then we are also planning on updating our Public Participation Plan in 2027. Again, for some of our main priorities that we have for the potential 2027 document, I will do my best not to read through these too much, as they are also in your packet. But we will be continuing with our Regional Active Transportation Plan and the Household Travel Survey. Both of those are current contracts and staff work as well. As I mentioned, the Public Participation Plan, we will continue with Safe Routes to School planning, and that will just be the staff tasks continuing after the consultant contract that we currently have in place ends this year. We are planning on updating our Transportation Systems Management and Operations Plan, ongoing safety initiatives and planning, our routine accounting and administration tasks, the administration of the Transportation Improvement Program, same with the Metropolitan Transportation Plan, and then ongoing transportation data and analysis, bicycle and pedestrian planning, transit planning, and then our travel demand modeling and all the work associated with that. That was very quick. We are, of course, open to discussing more, whether right now or outside the meeting. And we wanted to just kind of propose these potential priorities for 2027 and see any feedback. If there's anything that you all think we're missing or that you'd like us to incorporate, please let us know. We would love to do that. Our kind of tentative timeline right now is to hopefully send the draft document to our state and federal partners for review at the end of the week. And then that will be followed by a 30-day public comment period before it is brought to the TAC for a recommendation and then back to this body for approval. I know that was a lot. Are there any questions for me right now? If not, please feel free to email me or reach out after the meeting as well.
That's a lot of tasks, so.
It is, yes.
Thank you, Mark. Next item on.
Yes. And then just a very quick update, just sharing that the Regional Transit Coordination Committee held their first meeting on July 1st. They discussed multiple things, including the committee's purpose, since this was their first meeting, an overview of the Regional Transit Implementation Plan that they will be working to carry out more in the future. They discussed their current transit initiatives and priorities for future meetings. That included kind of discussing what they want to see at these future meetings, what would make them useful to them, and topics that they would like to discuss. Since this really will be a forum for transit providers and interested parties to coordinate and collaborate, that's really just a meeting place for them. And the plan is for them to have quarterly meetings, and the next one will likely be in early October. Any questions?
Thank you, Mark. Any questions, members?
Thank you.
Okay, great. So we have next item led by Kim and helping with pedestrian counts. Kim Negrete, thank you.
Good afternoon, TPB members and community partners. Once again, it is time for the annual bicycle and pedestrian count. I know all of you are very familiar with this. This has been ongoing since 2012 and a way to really track utilization, where people are traveling using active transportation. So we have our website live. We are recruiting volunteers. And of course, request your assistance in recruiting those volunteers for your community. We are keeping the count locations consistent with last year. So we'll have about 39 count locations, and those will mostly be conducted by volunteers, but we will also be using the cameras to collect the data as well. So there's flyers at all of your seats, and I can definitely email you any newsletter blurbs or information that you would like to share. We also will be sharing Facebook posts to recruit these volunteers and also to just build community awareness about the count. So if you could help share those on your jurisdiction pages, we would greatly appreciate it. So any questions on this year's count?
I have one. Do you plan on having the automatic counters along with the volunteers at the same location just to keep validating, or different locations?
I know Peter did the validation last year to ensure they were working and that we were collecting similar data. So I'm not sure what those plans are for this year.
The validation went well last year. I don't think it would actually hurt if we did have a crossover and we could check some other places. But truthfully, it went quite well last year. They were, well, better than I initially anticipated, matching up when we actually calculated the different volumes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is on Facebook, so.
Oh.
This is on Facebook.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And, the next item we have is household travel surveys. It's a project that we have on UPWP, and we had several meetings with the consulting team members, and Nick Flanders is here to give an update.
Thank you, Chad. We will have a bit more to discuss next time, but for now, just a couple of quick updates. First, we have a steering committee set up for the household travel survey project that will have its first meeting on the 19th of August. And the survey proper will start going to households in September after Labor Day, and is expected to run through about March or April. Besides that, I would not have much else to say at this time. That would not be repetitive of what you have heard at previous meetings from EDC Institute, our consultant on the project, that will hopefully produce good, statistically significant household travel survey results that can be used in our travel demand model to forecast future travel demand on the system, and also be used for other planning purposes, both by WAMPO and its member jurisdictions. Any questions on this?
Thank you, Nick. So next item we have is Peter is updating the data dashboard on the website with various types of files and that are helpful to jurisdictions. Peter.
Yes, just wanted to let you know in less than about 90 seconds that we updated how you find reports and dashboards on our website just to make it easier to find what you're looking for. So if you go click on that data and reports on our website now, you can look there, click on reports, and now you can filter to go find what you need. You can see here, just finding commuter flows has just the information you need, a description, where to download it, and then any related tables and dashboards. Not a lot of filler, just to get exactly what you need. And on the subject of dashboards and tables, we did the same thing, put them all in one place. So you can search them real quick, you can filter. And for example, this will look at a table here. These are all were on our website previously. It's just census data on the different cities, but you can find it now very quickly. Download it, comes down for something as a file you can open up in Excel, pull that real quick, take a quick look. Again, it's nothing we compiled. It's census data. Well, we compiled it, but it's census data that we put on our website, so you don't have to go searching for it. In this last part that's showing here, we put together a GIS portal. This has all of our geographic information files. For example, this one's looking at the federal roadway functional classification. A lot of this is for staff, but it's just to facilitate this process because a lot of times you could find this information on our website, but sometimes it was scattered, or in the worst case, you'd have to email someone. So just letting you know, those files are much easier to find and to navigate to.
Thank you, Peter. I appreciate it. Finally, we have tag bylaws. Evan is here, our WAMPO's legal advisor is here. He's helping us with updating the tag bylaws, and we'll be discussing that at our executive committee meeting as well. And, few changes like, how can Derby, as an example, city can be part of a member? How can it get a membership in the tag? Is one of the example, and those edits will be made. Just want to provide you a heads up that those changes will come back to TPB seeking your approval after it goes through executive committee meeting. So that's all the report, and thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you, Chad, and thanks staff for your reports. All right, next we have item 3, the public comment opportunity. So if there's anybody in the public would like to speak, you have 3 minutes. All right, I am not seeing anybody, so we will move on. Move on to item number 4, the actions. We have one action item. It's FFY 2027-2030 TIP, Transportation Improvement Program. Nick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Today, you're going to be asked whether or not to approve the federal fiscal year 2027 through federal fiscal year 2030 Transportation Improvement Program, or TIP, for the WAMPO region. We held a call for projects seeking suballocated federal funding from WAMPO February 2nd to March 6th. Then the project selection committee met on March 30th of this year to make recommendations of which specific projects to get what specific amounts of funding from what specific programs, which went to the TAC for a recommendation on April 27th. And those funding awards were approved by this body on May 12th. Besides these suballocated funding projects, the TIP is also required to list any projects in the region during that 4-year period that are expected to receive any other federal funding, any non-sub-allocated federal funding, as well as any projects that are regionally significant in spite of not having federal funding on them. We have gone through all those steps of call for projects, PSC meeting, TAC recommendation on the PSC's recommendations, TVB approval of the funding awards, followed by state and federal review of the overall TIP document, including all changes unrelated to the suballocated funding. We did a 30-day public comment period as required by our public participation plan, June 17 through July 16. The TAC recommended that the TIP be approved on July 27th. And now today, August 11th, it is your turn to take a vote. You can find on page 19 of your packets a map of the TIP projects that are mappable. And you can also find in your packets, I don't have the page number for this one, but it should be on there's a first or second page of the staff report for this one. All of the projects that the TPB voted to award suballocated funding, mostly in 29 and 30, because most of the suballocated funds for 27 and 28 were already programmed. These new ones total about $35.7 million. And the overall suballocated funding over the 4-year period of the TIP, including that which was already programmed before this cycle, totals at $72 million approximately. You can find the list of all the projects that are part of that on page 20 of your packets. And the map of those projects, the ones that are mappable, on page 21 of your packets. Looking at this in a little different way. On this slide, I'm showing the suballocated funding amounts from our 4 suballocated funding programs of Surface Transportation Block Grant, SDBG, Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality, CMAQ, Transportation Alternatives, TA, and Carbon Reduction Program, CRP, in each of the years 2027, 2028, 2029, and 2030, totaling $72 million over that period. As you can see, it is mostly the STBG funding. And keep in mind that we are in the last year of the current appropriations bill from the federal government. The next one has not been passed yet. We will see whether or not the 27, 28, 29, and 30 amounts resemble these. Also shown on this slide are some major non-suballocated federal funding programs. The four of the larger ones, there are some smaller ones that are not shown here, as well as some FTA programs that go through Wichita Transit. We have here the NHPP, SDBG, BRF is the bridge program, and Highway Safety Improvement Program, or HSIP. The largest non-suballocated funding program by far is NHPP, and I'm sorry, I'm blanking what that stands for. National Highway
Preservation Program.
Thank you, Allison. National Highway Preservation Program is the largest of those. On page 24 of your packets, you can see a graphic of the projects in the TIP and how they help advance our progress towards our targets for the federally required performance measures, PM1 of safety, PM2 pavement and bridge condition, and PM3 traffic flow and reliability, as well as transit asset management and transit safety. On page 23 of your packets, you will see the final table from our fiscal constraint analysis showing that we do not predict a zero balance at the end of FFY 2030 when you take in all of the projected state, local, and federal revenues, the costs of the programmed projects, and the cost of operating and maintaining the transportation system. Reject a positive balance, not a negative. Therefore, it qualifies as fiscally constrained as required for TIPs. On page 22, you can see the cost breakdown of all the projects in the TIP according to what kind of project they are. Road reconstruction and modernization is by far the largest category, followed by roadway expansion and then bridge projects, and so on down the line according to this pie chart. We received one public comment during our 30-day public comment period. Rather than reading it verbatim, I will just tell you that this too is in your packets in the staff report. I'm sorry I did not put the exact page on this one. That did not occur to me. Before we get into the action options on this of approve as presented, not approve, or approve with specific changes, are there any questions?
I just want to mention the acronyms are in the back of the packet.
Yes, sorry, yes. We do have a list of acronyms at the back of every meeting packet. Thank you.
Are there any
Yes,
questions for
Allison?
Nick, in response to the public comment, how did you respond to them, to that individual?
The comment was noted and acknowledged.
How did you dispose of the comment? Did you send an email back? How was that handled? Because that is supposed to be done.
Yes, we did. We essentially just tracked it in our databases, and then we responded to them, letting them know that the comment would be incorporated into the document and presented to our TAC and TBB, which is what we're doing. But we did let them know that over email, and then we did incorporate it into an appendix of the document as well.
Okay, thank you, Marky.
Of course, thank you. Good question.
Are there any other questions? If not, would somebody like to make a motion to approve the FFY 2027 through 30 TIP as presented?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the TIP as presented. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed? All right, thank you. All right, next we have item 5, discussion and updates. A regional active transportation plan update. Kim.
Yes, thank you again. We are very excited to get rolling on the Regional Active Transportation Plan. As you are aware, you approved this back in early June at your meeting, and we have been busy working with the consultant team and with staff to make the most of this time. It's only a 12-month project and plan, so we're trying to get out and ahead. So this is really a comprehensive plan that prioritizes the connectivity, the safety and accessibility, and infrastructure expansion across the WAMPO region. We are really looking at a lot of data analysis. We're doing a lot and planning a lot of public engagement. And then we're going to be having identification of specific projects and strategies for implementation. So there's several goals of this project. One is to identify that network, that regional network that will connect our jurisdictions, our trails, infrastructure, and attractions. We're also looking for those potential catalyst sites where people will want to gather and maybe economic interest may get spurred. And then we will also be updating maps and looking at technology as well. So it's a pretty big project, and we are excited to be getting rolling. So here is a brief timeline of this project. We have been out meeting with many of the jurisdictions. We are reaching out and meeting with all of the member jurisdictions across the entire region, and it has been really good listening sessions, hearing about their bike ped plans, also looking at community development and other plans that we might want to take into consideration. So in addition, staff have been working on the mapping, looking at all the existing conditions that Peter is going to share with you in just a minute. But what I wanted to just draw your attention to is we are getting ready to start doing some more public engagement. We're looking at hosting open house events in different segments of the region so that we can get some good engagement. We'll also be out at your fall festivals, and we will be out asking residents, where they would like to walk and ride safely throughout our region. In addition, we'll be kicking off our advisory group with its first meeting later this month. So we are working very diligently to keep this project on track. And I'd like to turn it over to Peter to kind of share some of the mapping work that has been going on.
Good afternoon again. So we've been working with RDG to map all of the existing paths and bikeways within the WAMPO region. We had some good resources to start with, but we wanted to do some cleanup and review things that have either come into existence since then or going to come into existence in the very near future. So you can see here we have about, as a highlight, between shared use or side paths, these paths are sidewalks that are greater than 8 feet. That's the bottom line there. There's about 191 miles that we've documented thus far. And you can see the other various facilities that we found as well. And going through there, I was trying to highlight some of these paths. One here, the Gypsum Creek Bicycle Path. I was trying to find one that people don't normally talk about all that much, and I thought this was one of them. It's all nearly 5 miles in South Wichita. People don't see, there's tons of these. Canal Hike and Bike, K96, the Zoo Boulevard Path, 21st Street Tide Path, bicycle lanes on 21st Street, 45th, North and Market, 1st and 2nd. It goes on. I was just trying to give an idea. I needed to pick one. These ones were also slated for some improvements later on in the coming year. All right. And then another one that I wanted to bring light to was the Prairie Sunset Trail. And this is one people have heard of, but I thought it was more emblematic of what we're trying to look at with this plan. You can see it connects 3 different communities between Wichita, Goddard, and Garden Plain. And it's something that this plan, as a WAMPO regional plan, it's a project, and projects like this, it's a good home for them. So looking at this, it's 15.3 miles. It starts just past the floodway on the west side of I-235 and goes all the way out to Garden Plain. And then another one, and this isn't necessarily a path, but it is connected side paths or just large sidewalks that can support bike riders. Most of it is 10 foot, all the way from Wichita down to Mulvane. It's about 12.3 miles, but just another example where if you, some of these segments in between Derby and Mulvane and Wichita, if you look at those, and hopefully we can find more of these small connections between our cities to help connect things up, or to perhaps look at these as possible projects in the future. And to that end, we are putting all of this in a dashboard with all these distances, closures, detours, facility types into a very what we're hoping is a highly accurate dashboard, because we took a lot of time to look at the data and try to get as clean as we can. With that, existing conditions, we're wrapping that section up. We'll always be checking and adding new things as they come on, which they're always appearing. With that in mind, and last bit here, I wanted to see, I think we have Marty online. He is the man who walks the walk or bikes the bike. He came down in July. It actually biked a lot of our trails and visited with a bunch of communities. He's done, RDG and Marty have done a lot of these plans or different kinds of active transportation plans across the nation. We wanted to give him a time just to talk about the unique things in the WAMPO region. Marty?
Yes, thanks, Peter. Well, it's really exciting to be enmeshed in this project and be really involved in it. As both Kim and Peter have really accomplished most of what I wanted or was planning to talk about, but I can give you some initial impressions. As Kim said, we have spent over July 2 full weeks visiting communities, riding the community, riding RIDING, the communities and the trails. So, for example, I actually do know the Gypsum Creek Trail, having ridden it all already, not always on purpose, but wound up there. The Wichita region has a great trail system, and it's an enormous foundation to build on. One aspect of the project that I think is will really be significant is that the plan will not only be regional, but it will also be local. So there will be not so much for Wichita, which already has implemented or has approved a bike master plan, but for the other communities, a more detailed community or local plan. A lot of times the regional plan grows from the bottom up. And so being able to understand how those communities fit together and really understand the fabric and the nature of them is very important to looking at the region at large. As Kim mentioned, another important element of the plan are catalyst projects. There are interesting things that pop up when you really learn about a community that feel right in terms of being the kind of thing that if it were done, it would make a really big difference. Those could be intersections. They could be little segments of abandoned railroad, a town center or an improvement to a town center, variety of different kinds of things that can really make a significant difference in the active transportation environment of communities. A couple of other quick things to mention is that, as Kim mentioned, we will be doing public workshops that will identify opportunities, get people's input, that will be happening in the last week of September. Within a couple of weeks, by September 1st, we will be launching a project website in its complete nature, complete with a questionnaire and an interactive map. Those are things that are very important in terms of gathering input. Sometimes people are shy about coming to meetings, but they will put comments on a map, and those we have found in our work have been extremely useful, and are moving through the various steps in the plan. Again, I would like to really commend with all my heart the work of WAMPO staff. It's unusual to have people who are so involved in a project like this, from Chad and Kim to everybody else who's involved on the team. And I think one of the things that we find really gratifying is that this project really does become a team project and not a consultant going off in isolation and doing stuff and saying, here it is, take it or leave it. So we're really pleased again to be part of this team, to be with you, and really are looking forward to a terrific result that will give the Wichita Metro region not just a visionary plan, but a plan that is implementable within the resources that we've got.
Thank you so much, Marty. Yes, it's been quite a pleasure, as he mentioned, meeting with all of the jurisdictions and getting to just sit down and take some time with them. So we'll be scheduling the last few jurisdictions that we haven't been able to reach out to, and we'll be wrapping up the mapping and then moving on with the public engagement. So any questions on the regional plan?
So the Sunset Prairie Trail, is it going to remain gravel or?
As far as I know, the plans when I've talked to the organizations are that yes, that one will remain gravel. It's really compacted and really nice gravel. So at this time, I think that's the plan. So
It's a couple places need drainage.
Yeah, I know they are working definitely on those drainage issues. And I know the city of Goddard and others are really stepping up to help with those as well. So Yes.
Thanks.
If I could mention one thing, Kim, one thing that we do recommend, in a lot of cases when there are drainage issues on an unpaved trail, is to pave those sections, that they needn't be all one or the other, but to address those kinds of places that have been problems without necessarily paving the entire trail. The other thing that seems like a kind of dumb solution, but can work, is in places that are chronically wet or tend to have a specific ponding problem on a trail, is that you actually can build a little bridge over those, almost the equivalent of a bridge that a Boy Scout troop might build to just get people over them. So there are some interesting solutions that are not necessarily high-tech ones or major engineering solutions that can be done with this sort of consistent problem in various spots of drainage, and then the hardening of a surface so that it produces ruts, which can be dangerous. So we're looking at all those kinds of issues as well on the existing trails.
Thank you.
It'll be great to see the finished project.
Yes.
As far as what it looks
Very
like.
exciting. Very exciting. So thank you.
All right, next we have item B, community events, Riverfest, Brianna. She online?
Chair, I believe the presenter is actually unavailable for the meeting today. So
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, thank you. All right, well, we will move on to item 6, committee and partnership updates. Executive committee. So our next executive committee will be August 13th at 11 o'clock. Probably in the room down the hallway, right? Yeah. All right. And that is an open meeting. All right, next, KDOT. Is Mike online?
Mike could not be on today, but I'm not aware of any updates that we need to share from the headquarters level, at least.
All right, thank you. All right, KDOT, Wichita.
Good afternoon, everybody. I have 2 I-135 closures to mention for this weekend. The first is southbound I-135 between 9th Street and Lincoln Street. It will close at 7 p.m. on Friday, August 14th, while crews set bridge girders. The ramps from 9th Street, 1st and 2nd Street, and westbound US 54 to southbound I-135 will also close. The closure is expected to reopen at 3 p.m. on Saturday, August 15th, conditions permitting. So enough that you guys will have the rest of your afternoon to kind of get through there. Also beginning at 7 p.m. on Friday at I-135 in both directions at 101st Street, at the 101st Street interchange. We have a bridge redeck work. Traffic will be directed off and back onto I-135 through the 101st Street ramps. The closure is expected to remain in place until 6 a.m. on Monday, August 17th. So about the time everybody will be going back into work. So, make it a little nice.
Yeah. All right, thank you. All right, next we have item D, member jurisdiction updates. Open forum for any board members. Go ahead.
I would just like to say thank you to the county, Lynn Packer, and the staff for helping us get that 183rd Street project put together, and the cooperation there was really great, and really appreciate that support. The second thank you, I'd like to thank the WAMPO staff. I hear that our van is actually now in Wichita. We're working on some title issues, I guess. The state kind of gets kind of cranky about transferring titles and errors, but the effort that you helped support when Amanda Treadwell was working on that grant, she did it at a time, and she didn't even think she'd get the grant approved. So, but with your help, we did, and I just wanted to say thank you to both groups.
All right, sounds great. Any other comments? None? All right, next, other business.
Just a quick comment. Mr. Chair, thank you. On page 14 of your packets on today's approval of the TIP, I just want to, recognize our Commissioner Pete Meisner's efforts on Amtrak, and then Commissioner Meisner, requested staff to put aside some, some monies for planning purposes. So we had that on interstate passenger rail, like 300,000. That's approved by you, this body today. So I just want to thank you for Commissioner Friedman. That's all.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That just because we've allocated it doesn't mean we're writing any checks yet, right? We're waiting to see how KDOT pursues with the updated service development plan and communication with FRA and Amtrak. So I appreciate that. Thanks for the. Might also just add that been recent discussions. This is just for your quasi awareness. There's the Planning Commission does I forgot the name of the plan that's out. Comprehensive plan. Thank you. Currently, it's through 2035, and I don't know how strict the rules are for them to review and update almost annually and stretch it out 15 years. So they're behind, but they've been really busy with all the projects you all want them to do. But one thing that's been evident is the city's areas of influence. And so there may be a reach out to all the cities to say, hey, review your area of influence. And maybe our county recommendation to the planning was to, instead of you planning, telling the cities what their area of influence is, let's get feedback from them to see. And so it's not immediate, but that's in the works because they are really busy. And actually that would cut down on a lot of the comprehensive plan work if the cities chimed in on what they feel their area of influence in their growth patterns will be in the next, well, this is 2035, but some of them I think are already some of those cities are already bordering, way past or approaching what their former area of influence was. It's very outdated. And it really came to light with the recent effort on the solar farms related to Clearwater and even bordering into Wichita and the airport and all that. So that's just I'm just sharing that again. No idea on the time frame, but let's not be surprised and maybe we use WAMPO to help distributing the information and coordination. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Anything else? All right, next we have adjournment. Anybody like to go home? No? So move. All right, we have motion to adjourn today's meeting. All in favor, say aye. All right.
Thank you.
Go out and enjoy the warm weather.
Thank you.